Okay, so lab number 2 is going to be starting on page 5, section B, fabric component recognition. The objectives are to identify yarns and fibers as components of a textile fabric, to observe the porosity of textile fabrics, to observe a type of transformation that occurs with the addition of colorant and the application of a finish to a gredge fabric, which is a fabric prior to finishing and dyeing. That's what gredge means. So the instructions are: remove the top 3 swatches from the bundle labeled for exercise 1. Locate the gredge fabric and remove several yarns from its lengthwise direction. Mount all but one of this group of yarns in the rectangle labeled yarns. Separate fibers from the yarn that has not been mounted and mount these fibers in the rectangle labeled fibers. You will probably need to untwist the yarn and pull gently on it to accomplish the removal of fibers. Then answer the questions on page 6 and 7. Mount the fabrics in the appropriate labeled rectangles and answer questions on page 8. So this will all be for your lab number 2. So make sure you have your stack for exercise 1. Go ahead and remove that rubber band. It says you're going to use the top 3 swatches. So that would be this white one, this red one, and this beige looking one. And put the others to the side. So on page 6, you see there is a space for the gredge fabric, for the yarns, and for the fibers. So the swatch will go here. So I'm going to tape that down. I happen to have double-sided tape, but you don't have to have double-sided tape, but I'm going to use double-sided tape. The only thing about double-sided tape is that everything sticks to it. But I put tape on the back, and now I'm going to mount it here. All right, so for the yarns, just remember that I read on the other side, it says you're going to separate fibers that has not been mounted, and mount these fibers in the rectangle labeled fibers. So I'm just gonna easily, you can pull out some, like as you can see with this fabric, the yarns come out fairly easily. So just pull some of the yarns out. And I'm just gonna lay them here, and then I'm gonna tape them. I have regular tape for that. I just have a bunch of yarns here. I'm going to tape them down in the section that says yarns. Then I need fibers. So I'm just gonna, as you know, fibers come from yarn. You take the fibers and you make yarn. So we need one more. And I'm gonna try to attempt to get some fibers off of this. So you may have to untwist it a little bit to get the fibers off. So as y'all can see, I kind of had to, I tore this yarn apart to try to get some of the fibers off. So I'm going to continue pulling the fibers off, and I'm going to tape them in the designated spot here. So here's my fibers. Y'all kind of get the gist. So I actually had to, I used like a little pin to separate. So, 1 second. Here it goes. I use this pen, you know, like a pen to separate, to untwist the yarn and kind of separate the fibers. And so then I tape the fibers there. So that's the first part. Swatch, yarns, fibers. Next is asking you to have a mechanically finished fabric in which the arrangement of fibers or yarns differ from gretsch fabric due to mechanical processing or surface contour has been altered. And then over here, a colored fabric in which the colorants, dyes, or pigments are present. So here, the red one goes here for the colored fabric, and then this one, kind of fuzzy textured off-white one, goes here. So you're gonna mount those down in the spaces there. Because I'm using double stick tape, so you can I can stick it to the fabric, and then it's also sticking on this other side, and then I can just mount it without the tape showing. But if you have regular tape, just put 2 strips of tape there to mount yours down into your book. For this lab number 2, after you've mounted all of your swatches, your yarns, and your fibers, you're going to go back and answer these questions. So read this information here. It says, observe how the yarns are entangled so they stay together to form the fabric. Compare the positioning of the yarns with the diagrams below. Which would you say the yarns in your swatch are? Interlaced, interloped, or knotted, or twisted about one another? Circle which one. So you see they're giving different examples. Circle which one you think. Is there a difference in how many points of light can be seen through the gretsch? Mechanically finished or colored fabric, yes or no? And which of the fabric allows the most visible light transmission? So answer these questions. Answer the questions on page 7 as well. Look up napped and brushed in your textbook by using this index. Write a definition of each word below. If you do not have your textbook, you can Google these terms, or yes, you can Google those terms, napped and brushed, and write a definition. Would you say your mechanically finished swatch was napped or brushed? Why? Answer. And then also on page 8, list the components of a fabric that will influence on its performance. We talked about performance in the properties as well. So I'll make a list. I'll put more information on Moodle, but you'll also be doing page 8. So lab number 2 will consist of starts on page 5 with the directions 6, 7, and 8.